Greetings, friends. I'm AK.
And I'm Laura.
And we are
the Chainsaw Girls. As you guys know, AK and I are hosting a live watch-along of The Lost Boys October 20th at the Screening Room in Buffalo, New York. Tickets are on sale now. You can get them at the Eventbrite link, which is in the show notes, and also all of our social media.
Yes, it's in an adorable little intimate theater. Come hang out with us.
I'm so excited to hang with you guys. I can't wait to meet you guys. I can't wait to eat popcorn, watch one of my favorite movies. We're going to do a Q&A. We're going to discuss the film all together. It's going to be great.
Don't miss it.
Photo ops, too.
Yes, photo ops. Who doesn't love a photo op?
We just love a good photo op.
We do, though.
Okay, do you want to get into the episode?
Yes.
Okay, let's rock and roll. On today's episode, I am so excited to be covering this movie. I say that about everyone, but truly I am.
I mean, we are choosing these movies, so one of us is bound to be excited about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Go ahead. You introduce it.
Okay, so I've never seen this movie, and as you know, if you've been listening to the podcast, all the movies that we've been doing for the past couple weeks now are all based on Halloween. Actual Halloween, since, you know, Halloween's coming up and all.
It's so close.
I cannot wait.
I love it. I love this month.
We love spooky season. We love October.
Love it.
And today's movie is 2013's All Hallows Eve, which we'll get into it. I mean, we're going to get into it. We are getting into it, right?
Yes.
There's just so much to say that I almost don't even know where to start. Okay, first, we're going to read the IMDb, but also I wanted to say that at the time of this recording, it is streaming on Tubi and Shudder.
Yes. Both. And Tubi's free, so that's exciting.
There you go.
Okay, so the IMDb description. While babysitting two children on Halloween, a babysitter finds a VHS tape in one of their candy bags. The tape contains 3 horror stories, linked by a killer clown. As the night progresses, strange things happen in the house.
Correct. That is what happens.
That is what happens. Okay, can I tell you the backstory of how I discovered this movie?
Please.
So, the Blade and I, like you do, we always do like 30 days of Halloween, or 30 days of horror movies. But to be honest, like we watch these all year long. And we stumbled upon All Hallows Eve. I want to say 2014.
Okay.
So it came out in 2013, and I think we discovered it in 2014. Could be 2015, somewhere in there. And I just remember after we watched it, like turning to the Blade and just being like, that clown is so scary. There's no way they're not going to make follow-up movies with this clown.
He is terrifying.
He is.
Yeah.
He's terrifying. No, but for real, I
oh
remember.
My gosh, I didn't even realize what I was saying when I said
No,
that.
I was like, what? Well, that's great. You got it. You nailed it.
Terrifying. And then, yeah, literally, you're wearing a Terrifier shirt.
I know. Isn't he so cute?
Well, maybe because today the movie that we're talking about is not called Terrifier, so I forgot already. But
I think one of the shorts is because. Okay,
yes.
Let's do a little backstory.
Yes.
A little bit of backstory. Okay, so the budget was $500,000. I did not get a gross on it because it went direct to DVD streaming the end of October in 2013, and I don't know how much money it made.
Okay.
I couldn't find that online. But it was directed and written by Damien Leone, who also did the special effects. I'm just such a fan of his. I think, oh my God, there's so much to say. But first and foremost, I'll just stick to All Hallows Eve to begin with. But just so you know, he did also write, direct Terrifier 1 and 2. And he has a producing credit on All Hallows Eve 2, although I don't know if he's directly involved in the movie.
yeah, and Art the Clown doesn't appear in that one, right?
I don't think he does.
Yeah.
No. So it makes me think that Damien maybe didn't have a lot to do with it. I'm not sure. But one of the cool things about this movie is these are actually 2 shorts that Damien made. The Ninth Circle, which I believe was 2008.
Yes.
And then Terrifier, which I believe is 2011.
The short film version, yes.
The short version, yes. So these are 2 shorts that then became an anthology. And the middle one was added just to like give the movie some meat, right? Like, so it was a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really neat that these were 2 shorts that he made, you know, many moons ago that eventually turned into an actual full-length movie.
Right. And that anthology being All Hallows Eve.
Yeah.
Which we are discussing today.
I think it's so cool. And also Damien is an accomplished special effects makeup artist. He's self-taught. He was obsessed with Tom Savini. And I mean, when you look at his work, it's so impressive that. But I took special effects makeup artist stuff when I was in like 20 in my early 20s.
That you said that. Special effects makeup artist stuff.
You know,
I want to do that so bad.
it was great. I went in my very early 20s. I went to like a professional makeup school. We did the beauty makeup. It was fine, but we did a full 6 months of special effects. And
You know,
it
I
was
love
awesome.
doing cosplays.
I know, and you're really good at it.
Thanks.
I actually,
but not this good. Not yet.
I think you could be. I think you absolutely could be.
I would love to actually be professionally taught. That would be awesome. Even though he was self-taught, that's incredible. That's very impressive.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
It is really hard. I actually just filled my kit up. I actually just recently like filled up my kit with all like the special effects stuff to try to like play with it again.
I want to look at it.
Yeah, it's upstairs.
Can we look at it later?
Oh my God, yeah.
When we're done recording?
I got latex, I got everything.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I went a little banana pants after I quit my job. Anyway, moving along.
Yes. So it's so impressive that he wrote this movie, he
Yeah.
directed the movie, he edited the movie, he did the special effects on the movie. Is it Damien Leone or Leone?
I think it's pronounced Leone. Could be wrong.
Okay.
We'll go with it.
Well, I'm just going to call him Damien. I hope we're on a first name basis
Yeah,
now
let's do
since
that.
we're doing this episode.
Yeah, Damien.
Okay, so yes, Art the Clown, his first appearance was in the Ninth Circle, like you mentioned, 2008. And now I feel like we just need to get into All Hallows Eve.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about it. I love an anthology. You love an anthology.
Love anthologies. I think they're like one of my favorites, honestly.
Yes. I do just want to say, before we get into the movie, after putting over Damien, of course, and everything about this movie,
Am I sensing a hot take?
I have a hot take. And I'm kind of nervous to even say it because I'm like, do I even feel like going there? Do I even feel like being vulnerable and sharing this? But I'm going to share it.
I think you should.
You shared a hot take not too long ago with the burning. I'm going to
did.
share a hot take. Your hot take was very well received, though. I don't know if mine is going to be. Okay, so I am not sold on Art the Clown yet. I know you love Art the Clown. I don't dislike him. And I was trying to break down, actually, on my way here to your house, I was trying to really break down what is it that I feel like is holding me back, you know?
Okay.
From like full-fledged fandom.
I love that
Because-
you're actually like unpacking it and
Yes.
trying to figure out why don't I like this.
Trying to. So I think the main thing is I struggle to really get behind someone who is invincible, which we will find in this movie that he seems to be. And this, of course, there are two more movies that follow this. Terrifier from 2016, if I'm not mistaken, and then also Terrifier 2 from 2022, which we're not going to give spoilers for because those are more recent. There is a Terrifier 3 coming out soon.
This month. This month,
Yeah.
right? I think October.
Oh my gosh. Depending on when this releases, it might have already came out. I don't know.
I don't
So-
know, but that's exciting.
Yeah, okay, so that being said, I'm still going to go see Terrifier 3. I will say I have not seen the first one from 2016.
Oh.
Someone told me not to watch it, actually. Someone was like, "Don't watch it, you're not going to like it." And I was like, "Okay." Which
Can I tell you? I sat my mom down. She came to my house, and I tried to trick her into watching the one scene near the end of the movie where he uses a huge like hacksaw.
yeah.
If you know.
The scene,
Yes.
I think that scene is why this person told me not to watch it. And it's not because of the gore. It's because anyway, continue.
Okay. Well, anyway, once she pieced together what the hell I was putting on, she was like, "Laura, no, we're not put on Labyrinth. I don't want to watch this."
I love Labyrinth.
Me too. That's why
Damn
my dog's
it.
name is Sir Didymus, and Toby
Oh,
is
yeah,
named
of
Toby.
course.
Yeah.
That's not a horror movie, is it?
It's not.
We can't stretch it. We can't stretch the definition
Okay,
of a horror movie.
tell me or tell me not. Jared?
The Bulge.
Oh, not only that, he's like, there's something about him, man. There's something about him. Okay.
There's something about that mullet. Okay, so we're not talking about Labyrinth today. Back to my hot take. Where the hell was I with my hot take?
Well, you struggle with the fact that art is invincible.
Yes. So without giving spoilers to 1 and 2, he truly does seem to be invincible. I think that I think it's a more fun story for me to get behind if I feel like the villain has an Achilles heel.
Okay.
And you could argue that maybe he does, without giving spoilers. But, I mean, a third Terrifier is coming out. So, regardless, he's coming back.
It's interesting to me that you didn't feel like he had an Achilles heel in the second Terrifier.
Yeah. It's hard to
Because-
talk about without giving spoilers.
I mean,
for it.
guys, okay, look it. I'm just gonna say a spoiler warning right now, okay? Spoiler warning. Just fast forward if you don't want to know what happens in Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
But I feel like you do see some vulnerability.
Vulnerability,
With Sienna.
yes. Yes.
Which, by the way, Sienna.
I know.
Sienna?
I know.
Oh, I love
I
it.
know.
I love it.
I know. Yes.
JK goes, I don't love it.
I don't love it. No. It's, yes, vulnerability, but he doesn't die. So he
No.
looks like he's going to die. He certainly looks like he's going to die, but we know that he's coming back. So he's not dead.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you like Michael Myers?
Oh my God. Okay, so my hot take.
Do you not like Jason either?
My hot take is a two-parter, and this part I feel like is even worse than the first one. This one's even hotter than the first one.
Okay, so the first one is she's not a fan of Art the Clown.
I'm not
Second one.
sold. I'm not sold on Art the Clown yet. I'm hoping in Terrifier 3 there's more there that I can get behind. And the second part of this is that the reason I think I cannot get behind Art the Clown right now is the same reason why, out of all the horror villains, the horror icons, Michael Myers is at the bottom of my list.
But wait a second. Jason always comes back. Do you like Jason?
For some reason.
What about Chucky? Chucky always comes
Okay,
back.
so then I had another theory. It doesn't really apply to Jason. We're gonna have to really dissect that one. If I was gonna put them in order, it would be like Michael Myers at the bottom and then Jason. So they're at the bottom. But it's not just the invincibility. It's also, I think, I love charisma. And Chucky has charisma. Freddy has charisma.
He really does, yeah.
And I'm like,
You don't think Art has charisma? I mean,
Art does have charisma.
He's got charisma.
He does.
He thinks things are funny.
Yes, he does have charisma. So that's where I'm like, but I was really breaking this down on my way here.
Yeah.
Where I was like, Jason and Michael, I would put at the bottom. And yeah, they don't talk. And they just like keep coming back. So like to me, you know, I love a personality. I love a funny guy. I think that's why Freddy and Chucky are at the top of my list.
I love Frederick.
And I think that's why I want to like Art the Clown, because he's charismatic.
Yeah.
So that's where I struggle with this.
That's such an interesting take. And I don't think it's wrong by any means, right? Like different strokes for different folks,
sure.
right? What I think is interesting though is in All Hallows Eve, you're right. Like Art doesn't seem to have any like vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
That being said, no one's really tried to kill him. Like no one was really trying to kill him in this.
I'm
Right?
picturing a scene, but I think I can't remember exactly what it is until we go through it.
In Terrifier, in the last one, she's running from him. She's trying to get away from him, but she doesn't exactly like fight him.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't think it's the full picture of the story yet.
Yeah.
Right? We're
Yeah.
just sort of being introduced to him.
I could see that, and that's why I am still gonna go watch Terrifier 3.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that I'm seeing more vulnerability. I feel like, okay, so like Freddy, for example, and we'll move on after this because I know we're spending a lot of time on this. But Freddy, for example, yes, he keeps coming back, but also we know that he's supernatural, which we pieced together in All Hallows Eve that so is Art the Clown.
Yeah.
But with Freddy, he has rules. That's what it is. Not just that he has vulnerabilities. Well, I guess the rules do make vulnerabilities. But like with Freddy, there's so many different things you can play with. Like, he can only get you in your dreams. Okay, so now we're gonna
you like
drink coffee
parameters.
all night and we try to stay awake.
Yeah.
And what happens when we try to do that? And what happens when you think that you're awake but you're really not? You're in a dream. So there's just like so much to play with. Whereas if it's just like no matter what you do, I'm gonna get back up. It's like, okay. Well, let's give me something to work with because we need to feel like someone's gonna win here.
So that doesn't scare you, it annoys you.
I think so.
Interesting. That's so no, I mean I have a completely different take, but I appreciate you exploring the reasons why you feel that way, but also being open to admit that it's not really your cup of tea.
Yeah.
You know? I hope you enjoyed this movie though.
I did. So that's why I keep going back to I want to like him.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give Terrifier 3 a chance.
I'm solely convinced after I saw the first Terrifier. So when I saw All Hallows Eve, I loved it and I loved Art. When I watched the first Terrifier, I was like, he's going to become a horror icon. Like, it's just,
Oh, yeah.
Immediately I'm like, this is a guy, like, this is a character that people are going to rally behind, even though he's evil and he's doing horrible things.
Yeah.
And the way he kills people is almost so over the top that it's comical, especially in the second one.
Yes.
Especially in the second one.
That was another issue that I started to have, is that if I feel like a movie is starting to border on the line of torture porn, I start to check out.
Right.
And the scene in Terrifier 2, like when he leaves the room, this is also a little spoiler if you want to watch that movie before you hear any spoilers, just so you know. When he leaves the room, he's skinning this girl alive.
Yeah.
He leaves the room and gets like bleach and salt. That I was like, oh, okay. I think I said that out loud.
Okay,
I think I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, but my argument to that is it's so ridiculous that I don't think it's torture porn. I think torture porn is when it's to a point that it feels really real.
Okay.
This didn't feel real. This felt like so ridiculous. Like, this girl's not going to be alive. Like, she would be dead at this point. The fact that it just carried on and he's like pointing and laughing. Yeah. I mean, she's even alive at the end of the scene and says, you know?
I can see that. I see that as well. Of like, it's not it. Yes, what you just said basically.
Like, I do, but I understand, because I'm not a fan of like torture porn. Like, I'm not a fan of, you know, even some of the Saw movies. I was kind of like,
yeah,
it's getting a little silly. You know?
I was just gonna say, it's funny for me to say that when I like the Saw movies, but there are scenes that are tough to watch.
No, for sure. I mean, I couldn't even get through Human Centipede. Honestly,
don't even get me
my
started.
whole stomach. I was just like, I can't imagine. Oh my God, I can't fathom it. Okay.
Human Centipede 2, I'm sorry, I have to say this now because you brought it up. Because when I think about movies that border on torture porn, Human Centipede 2, in my opinion, is one of those where I will never watch that movie again.
Oh, I never saw it.
Like, it actually pissed me off.
Really?
But it's because I feel like sometimes people will be like, okay, we're just going to do something so shocking, and just to do something that no one has ever done before because it's so shocking, just to be shocking.
Yeah.
If it's shocking just for the sake of being shocking.
Yes.
Sometimes it just annoys me.
No, I feel the same way. I like a good story. I like things to make sense. I mean, if it's like over the top gore, as long as it fits with the story,
Yeah.
then I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But like you, I've never seen Cannibal Holocaust. I never will. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
I'll never watch that. Yeah, there's a line for me too.
Yeah.
You know, but I just think the way that Terrifier 2, how they almost make it kind of comical.
Yeah. I can see that.
But I also see your point of view too. Okay.
All right.
Shall we dive into the actual movie?
Talk about the actual movie.
Let's do it.
So we open up All Hallows Eve with babysitter Sarah. And she is babysitting two kids, Tia and Timmy.
Oh, Timmy. Timmy's a little brat.
They both are, really.
Yeah, they're first of all, they're great actors. Like, they're really good, like, kid actors, but they are such like kids.
They really feel like siblings because
they like pick on each other, and they've just gone trick-or-treating.
Right. And Timmy dumps out his candy on the floor, which, did you do that as a kid? Oh, we did.
I didn't in front of anyone. I made sure that I hid that, man. I lived in a house with a lot of people.
Oh, okay. So
know?
You're like, no one's taking my fucking candy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we dumped our candy out on the floor. And so Timmy does that, and a VHS tape drops out. And he's excited about it. He's like, ooh, what is this? And the babysitter immediately is like, you're not watching that.
I really liked Sarah.
Yeah.
She was a strong, like, role model. Like, she was a good adult.
So you could tell that obviously they're going to persuade her eventually to watch this, but as it's happening, I'm thinking, like, there's no way I'm letting these kids watch this tape.
No.
But I was very happy with her dialogue. I felt like her dialogue was natural and it made sense, even though she does eventually give in, of course, otherwise we don't have a movie. But at first she's like, you're not watching that. You have no idea what's on it. I'm like, yes,
I know exactly. Because my immediate brain goes to, like, pervert.
Yeah.
Like, it does. I don't think, oh, he's some guy or some person handed out, like, a fun Halloween movie. My immediate thought is, like, there's something up here.
Yeah. Hocus Pocus is not on that tape.
Definitely not.
So they're continuing to try to persuade her. And she eventually says exactly what I was thinking, actually. She's like, well, let me screen it first, and then I'll let you watch it.
I think that's fair.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, if you're going to let them watch it, at least watch it first.
Yeah.
Even though I would not want to watch what's on that tape. As an adult.
No way, I wouldn't either. No. But I also do think as a kid, I would want to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
That curiosity would get the better of me.
Yes, I don't know. Yes,
Oh, yeah,
and
because
no.
you didn't watch horror movies when you were a kid, right?
Because at first I'm like, yeah, I'd be really curious, but maybe I would be too scared. I don't know.
I think I would want to watch it. I'm pretty sure I would.
I could see that.
I mean, I feel like yeah.
Yeah. So she starts to screen the tape, and the kids are in the other room. It's not clear, or maybe it is, but I didn't catch it. Are they like watching secretly, or they just come into the room later, I think, is what happens.
I wish I could answer that question for you. I'm not sure.
Well, they're supposed to go into another room.
Yeah.
So either way, she thinks she's watching this tape by herself, and
I think you might be right. I do think maybe the kids are like kind of sneaking, but maybe I've like created that in my brain.
maybe because either way, they eventually walk into the room.
They do. Yeah.
So they're going to see this tape.
Yes.
But at first, she's trying to screen it before she lets them watch it, and the first movie that we see on this tape, because it is an anthology of 3 different movies, the first one is from The Ninth Circle, which is that short film that we mentioned earlier.
Yep.
So it's the girl on the subway, right?
I think it's a subway. Yeah.
Subway.
It's a really picture like a really deserted like train station. I mean, I can pick. It reminded me so much of like taking the subway in Toronto when I was young and should not have been out that late.
Oh my gosh.
By myself. Like, what are you doing? Stupid. But yeah, that's what when I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, this girl's alone.
Yeah. I could see that too, because I've been on that subway before. Not that young, but I've been on the subway in Toronto.
Yeah.
And it does have, every subway has that vibe to me. New York City, Toronto.
It really does. It's kind of like, it's not dirty, but it's like you don't want to be alone.
Yeah. So she's just chilling. I think she's waiting
She's
for
like reading a book, waiting
Yeah.
for her. And I think they announce that there's like a delay.
Yes.
There's going to be a delay.
Yep, there's a delay, and her name is Casey. We will find out. And there's like, I think a couple stumbles in and they're like, "Hey, what time is the train?" And she's like, "Oh, in 10 minutes, whatever." What does she say?
She asked for a smoke, and I thought her delivery
Yeah.
was like perfect.
Yeah, she's like, "Do you have a cigarette?"
Like, hey, do you got a cigarette? Like, the way she says it, I didn't even say it right, but the way that she says it is so like, yeah, we've all run into people asking for smokes on the subway.
Yeah.
It was just very like a real moment.
or just like in the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
Most people have experienced that. Like, "Do you have a cigarette?" Anyway, so now Casey looks up at one point when she's sitting by herself, and now we see Art the Clown. Which, it's Halloween, because the other couple that kind of stumbled into her, they were also wearing costumes. So this also takes place on Halloween. And
I
I'm
think
thinking,
so, right? They were in costumes, weren't they?
Yeah, because remember, she had him like on a leash or something. I mean, it could have been a kink, but I don't know, in my mind, she's a pirate. Maybe she wasn't a pirate.
Oh my God, in my mind, it was a kink. I was like, okay, they got
Oh.
something freaky going on, but I could be wrong. Maybe I'm the weirdo.
I
don't know.
assumed it was on Halloween and they were wearing a costume.
You know what? You're probably right.
Probably both, because either way, she was definitely pulling him by the neck.
Yeah, sure was.
So either way, but Art the Clown is now sitting across from Casey, and I'm thinking, I don't care if this is Halloween, I'm out of there.
Oh, I'm gone.
I'm out of
The
there.
second I'm alone with some man in a clown costume,
Yeah.
out.
So he honks a horn.
But also, I do want to say,
Yeah.
I remember when we rewatched it, we both kind of had that thing of, like, you're trying to rationalize in your mind, like, that this situation's okay. Even though it
Yes.
feels like there's if all the red flags are going and
Yeah.
the alarm bells are... But there's this weird part of you that goes like, no. This guy, it's just Halloween. He's not bothering me.
Yeah.
He's just waiting for the train. Like because that fear does set in, and you kind of like freeze a little bit.
Yeah.
I
I don't know why we do that, but we do it all the time. Humans just do that all the time.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I have the same thing with, I don't want to have to call 911. I don't want to have to
Yeah.
go to the hospital.
Or like if you're, that's why they always say if you're choking in a restaurant, don't go to the bathroom. Stay
Yes.
at your seat so you can get help. But it's this weird thing where you almost don't want to inconvenience people or embarrass people. I don't know.
Yes. Why are we embarrassed to choke?
I don't know. I think it's like, I'm really not sure what the psychology of that is, but I do think that's that thing of inconveniencing people.
It's so real. Yes. And just, what if I'm wrong?
Yeah.
Like-
what if I look hysterical? Or I think also too, maybe I'm only speaking from my own experience as a woman, but there's this weird, idea that I think is put in our brains at a really young age that we shouldn't embarrass people, we should stay quiet, and we shouldn't bring attention to things. And if a person you don't know approaches you, like, make sure you're polite, don't be rude, at the sacrifice of your safety.
And how many times, especially now with the internet and comment sections, do we get shamed for following our intuition?
Oh my God, 100%.
When we feel that something is off,
Yeah.
there are so many times where people will say, oh, well, this person only did this. Well, they only said that. They weren't actually attacking you.
Right.
But if you feel unsafe, you need to listen to your gut.
Oh, dude, I mean, this is a little off topic, but that just happened. I was out with Jess, and I don't know what it was, man, but we were at a bar and the vibes were off. I felt it in my gut. I looked at him and I was like, we need to get the out of here right now. Like, my intuition was like just going off. And if you don't listen to that, eventually you stop hearing it and you stop trusting yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that trust is really important.
It really is.
Anyways, we've completely digressed off the topic, but that's why I think she didn't leave.
Yeah, it's important. And we see it a lot in horror movies when it's so easy to say, oh, I would have ran. I would have been out of there. You don't really know.
You don't know, man.
And Casey is just playing it cool.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, he honks a horn.
And she seems like a sweet girl, too. Like, she just seems like she's like a quiet, she's minding her own business. She's like reading a book. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
For Casey.
He honks a horn, which would have pissed me off. Whether I got up and left is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But that would have pissed me off.
No,
I
for
hate
sure.
unnecessary loud noises.
Yeah, I feel you. It would have scared me, I think. I would have shit my pants
She
for
jumped.
sure. Yeah.
And then he does it repeatedly.
Because I think she also was thinking, if I don't look at him and I don't acknowledge him, this won't escalate.
Maybe he'll go away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then he does it repeatedly, and she does finally say, will you please stop it, or something like that.
Yeah.
And he looks at her like
his like shocked face
yeah.
is so funny. I love when he points and laughs too. Silently.
Yes.
Silent laughter.
So then he sits on the bench next to her, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't remember exactly what he does. Does he keep honking the horn at her?
Well, he eventually pulls out a syringe and
The flower.
It's got like a cockroach in it.
What did you say? I'm not shaming you. Did you say cockroach? It's so adorable. I'm sorry. I was like, at first I thought you were going to say like cucaracha. I was like, okay. Sorry. Yes, he hands her a flower. Because I was trying to remember what made her get up. But yes,
Yeah.
he hands her a flower.
And I remember, like, she's kind of hesitant, but she's like, okay. Again, it's that thing of like, well, I don't want to be impolite, so I'll take this
Yes.
whatever flower from him.
Oh, he's just being nice.
He's just being nice. No, ladies.
And
He's
then
not
there's
just being nice.
A cockroach in this flower. She screams, throws the flower, gets up to run. He grabs her. This also drives me crazy in movies, but once again, you just never really know how you're going to react in a split-second situation like that, where you just want her to punch him so bad. You just want her to fight.
So bad.
But she's pulling. She just pulls and pulls and pulls. Like, no, you got to swing. You got to swing on these people, okay?
Yeah.
But she pulls, and then he pulls out a syringe, and he injects her hand, and then she's trying to run, but then she eventually passes out.
Dude, that is one of... I know I feel like I say this on the podcast all the time. Like, that's one of this, like, scares me the most, or it's one of my biggest fears. But randomly, like, getting injected with something, honestly, I used to be so scared of that when I used to take the subway to work every day, because it was like an urban legend. But I think at some point people were using syringes. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. But in any event, I was really scared that I was going to get poked with a syringe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I don't know where the fear came from, to be honest, but...
Probably movies.
Movies.
Or you said it was an urban legend. So
it was an urban legend, or there could have been truth to it. To be honest, I've never dove into that. But that is so scary. The fact that she gets injected and then she wakes up in another location.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Never let them take you to another location, ever. Ever, ever, ever. Scream and fight and get the away as everything you can to not get taken to another location.
For real.
Okay,
but
anyway.
unfortunately, she's injected, so she passes out.
It sure does.
And she wakes up, and she's chained to what I thought were the train tracks.
Yeah,
For a second. I thought... So she wakes up, she has like a chain around her neck, right?
She does, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely around her neck.
Yeah.
Thinking about what happens next. Chain around her neck, and of course she's screaming, and you can hear the subway. So I thought, for some reason... that she was chained to the tracks and that the train was going to come hit her.
I think it's a valid thought.
I didn't know what was going to happen.
Sure.
So that's not what happened. She's like nearby the subway, but maybe on like a track that's just not being used or something.
Yeah, I think there's definitely in the subway system, but yeah, in an abandoned area or like somewhere that's like so close but so far. Like, you know, she can't actually get help.
She can hear the train, can't do anything about it. She's
Yeah.
chained by the neck. And then we see that there are 2 other girls also chained up, Kristen and Sarah.
Right.
So they approach, they're very timid, very quiet, and then they're explaining what happened, that there was a 3rd girl there not too long ago. They witnessed her get dragged away by her neck.
Yeah.
That, you know, they tried to pull her back, but he's too strong. He just took her from us.
Yeah.
Casey starts freaking out. One of the girls is upset that she's freaking out.
Yeah, because she's kind of saying, like, be quiet, be quiet. You don't want to bring attention to us. You don't want them to come back because there's essentially 2 ways to go. There's back towards, like, the subway, and then there's the opposite side, which is the tunnel where the chain, like, leads to. Mm-hmm. I imagine, like, because they drag the girl towards, like, these dark tunnels.
Yeah.
And the other girls are trying to explain to her, like, you don't want to go that way.
Yeah.
You know?
And she's like, no, we need to go.
Yeah.
We need to go that way because we need to see what's down there. We need to fight, basically. Now
like,
she's like, let's fight.
Yeah, like Casey's like, I don't want to die down here.
Yeah.
You know?
So they're getting dragged. Essentially, what the girls are telling Casey is that we're getting dragged away one by one. Casey wants to leave, and then I think it's Sarah that wants to leave with her. I forget which one is which now. Which one was Sarah and which one was Kristen. But one of the girls is like, okay, I'm going to go with Casey. Mm-hmm. The other girl is like, no, don't do it. They're going to kill you. But it's like, girl, they're going to kill you anyway. Like, they're dragging you regardless, so why not?
Yeah, it was interesting that was her response. I loved it, though, because it really did. It kind of showed you each person's response to like that type of fear.
Yeah.
Could you imagine waking up chained like that?
Don't want to.
Like the panic.
Yeah.
The panic, the fear, I can't even fathom it.
No. Hate thinking about it, actually.
Yeah, me too. So I do understand why the one girl is just so deathly afraid. Like she doesn't want to move.
Sarah's the one that wants to go with her. Oh no, I'm sorry. Sarah's the one that wants to go with Casey. So Kristen is the one that doesn't want to go.
And I feel for Kristen. I as annoying as it was that she didn't want to go, she's so scared.
Yeah, because I like you said, they kind of cover each mentality in that situation.
Yeah.
And I do understand wanting to fight and saying, "F it, they're taking us anyway, we're going to fight." And I also understand going, I want to delay this as long as possible.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go down there because I don't know what's down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we're going to find out what's down there. Because then Sarah gets yoinked as she's like mid-sentence too.
Oh God. I know she's the one that's like, she's like, okay, come on, like we're going to do, and then she gets
literally mid-sentence. Just also the idea of just getting yanked by your neck like that.
Oh my God, my like bulging discs in my neck could never.
Imagine they fix your neck. You're like, oh,
I'm like,
thank
you.
you.
Wait a second.
So now the other 2 girls, Kristen and Casey, they decide that they're going to try to escape. And as they're like going through this tunnel, a giant mutant, to me, looked like kind of the Toxic Avenger.
That's a good description. Sure.
Tries to attack the Toxic Avenger, but like less clothes. Tries to attack them, he does attack them, right? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Actually, now I'm remembering. I didn't have this in my notes, but he has some type of weapon, either a cleaver or something.
Yeah.
And he starts hacking up Kristen.
Oh God.
And Casey's just screaming and running. She eventually gets free.
She does. She grabs something in the midst of this. I can't remember. Does he use that cleaver and it hits the chain?
Probably. That makes sense.
And I think that like helps her break free.
Yeah. And then she goes running down the tunnel.
Yeah, she does.
And she finds a person pushing a shopping cart.
Yeah, she sees like I don't know. He's just like
some guy.
Yeah, some dude hanging in the subway systems with a cart.
Yeah.
With a bunch of stuff in the cart too.
Yeah, so it looks realistic.
Yeah, sure.
She runs up to him. She's like, you have to help me. You have to help me. And then it like flashes back to his face and he doesn't really have a face anymore. It's like a skeletal.
Yeah, he's ugly.
Yeah, it's really creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy.
And then I guess she passes out.
Aren't there like, there are things in his shopping cart? Aren't there like,
Oh, she does look in and there's a hand.
There's a hand, yeah.
Which I was like, is that Kristen's? Because that was fast. Because he did just hack off her hand.
I mean, it might be.
Either way.
Or they've been dragging girls, so.
Yeah. It could have been attached to someone, we don't know. We just saw the hand kind of peeking out and it was moving.
Yeah, and by the way, the atmosphere is great. It's dark, it's grainy, it's like, I think the lighting's really good. It's creepy.
Yeah. And so I guess she passes out because the next scene is her waking up and she's like tied up.
Does he hit her or does she get injected with something again?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. But yeah, you're right. She does wake up.
In my memory, even though we just watched this movie, but in my memory, she just kind of like...
I can't remember. Anyway.
She comes to and she's tied up.
Yeah.
And she looks like she's in a nightmare sequence. Like there's so much random shit happening around her that it's hard to... So I think that's why I can't remember if she got hit or not, because I'm writing down like all this stuff that's happening and there's a lot.
I mean, the one pregnant girl.
Ugh. Yeah. Even before that happens, all these images are flashing on the screen. Remember that one guy I said, who was that with the flesh beak?
The flesh beak.
So some have no faces, some have beaks, flesh beaks. One looks like Momo. I think I asked you yesterday.
I didn't know what it was.
Do you remember Momo? Do you remember Momo?
I don't know what Momo was.
I meant to look up the whole lore of Momo, but we don't have to get into that right now anyway. But it was like a trend back in, I feel like 2016 or something, where it was some creepy internet urban legend. Look it up. She's very scary though. But this creature looked like Momo to me. Mm-hmm. And then Momo, I'm just going to call her Momo, cuts open the belly of that pregnant woman who's tied up.
Oh, first of all, it's so gross.
Yeah.
But it's also just like so sad and so tragic. And the girl saying like, not my baby, not my baby.
Yeah, I hate that.
And they slice her stomach wide open and pull that baby out.
Take the baby out, gather the blood in a goblet.
Yeah.
And give it to another creature. Disgusting.
Oh, and Casey's witnessing this whole thing.
Yes.
So can you just imagine what's running through Casey's mind? Like,
I feel like I would just black out.
No, me too. I would be like, you know what? Somebody just kill me now.
As soon as I saw the flesh beak, I think I would just black out.
Out, gone.
Ugh.
I would rather die, I'm not gonna lie.
I legit was thinking that Kristen got a better fate by being hacked up.
That's what you were saying.
Yeah.
I know, especially when we know what's coming.
Yeah, when you know what's coming, it's like, you know what, just hack me up. It's fine. Because now Casey is having her clothes ripped off. She's tied up or being held down by these creatures, maybe a little bit of both. Has her clothes ripped off as this demon approaches. Like,
dude,
I'm pretty sure when I looked, because of course I looked into it a little more afterwards, based on what I found online, like it was supposed to be like Satan himself.
Definitely the devil.
He's licking his lips in a way that just really... don't like it.
If someone licked their lips like that at me, I would immediately dry as the... What did you say? Dry as the Sahara.
Dry as the Sahara.
Like, just... Please stop licking. Just stop licking your lips. It ain't hot. Even if it's weird.
If it was someone I was attracted to and they did that, I would be like, no.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, that's not... Don't do that.
Don't do that.
I understand if there's like a big fat pizza in front of you, lick your lips. I get that. Just don't lick them at me.
But I don't think he really cared if she was into it or not.
No.
It definitely was insinuated that he was going to assault her.
And probably impregnate her.
Probably. I'm assuming that's how the other pregnant woman became pregnant. Don't know, but that's just my speculation.
Same.
So... before we actually see what happens, that part of the movie cuts off.
Yeah.
And we go back to...
I'm glad because I would rather not see that.
I don't need to see it.
However, I will say this. Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, okay, number one, I've told you this a million times. I never want children, like, ever, ever, ever. I used to be, and I still kind of am. I'm pretty sure it's because I saw Rosemary's Baby when I was, like, 9. I used to have this fear that I was going to wind up pregnant with the son of Satan.
Oh my
I'm
God.
not kidding you. I literally, that was an active fear I had for many years.
It's valid. I see why you would be afraid of that.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's because we grew up on movies like The Omen, Rosemary's Baby.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
Oof, God. Anyway, so I thought, I loved the short. I thought it was great. It was really, really scary.
It was very, and picturing that as a standalone short film, I'm like, oh yeah, I see why that held up on its own.
For sure.
And I think that it was a good addition to this movie. I really liked that they included those movies in this, that they all came together in All Hallows Eve.
Yeah.
So at this point, Sarah, the babysitter, turns the movie off. And I'm thinking...
Because the kids are watching this at this point.
Yes, they have now, at this point, came into the room, and she's letting them watch it. So that's where I'm like, Sarah.
Okay, so that's why I said to you, is she, like, being mesmerized by the tape?
Oh, yeah, you
like,
asked that.
slowly. Is she slowly being, like, drawn in?
I can absolutely see an argument for that.
Guys, really quick, if you hear anything weird in the background, it just started pouring raining, like the loudest raindrops I've ever heard in my life.
To where we actually thought it was hail.
Yeah, I honestly was like, is it hailing? So if you hear any, like, pitter-pattering...
Sorry about that.
Sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
Can't control the weather. Wish we could. Not storm, you know? Okay, anyway, sorry, go on.
So... now Sarah turns it off, and there is certainly an argument there for when we see what happens later in the movie that maybe she was mesmerized by it. Maybe
that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, maybe it was kind of calling to her and drawing her to keep watching.
Because it is supernatural.
Yes, and you were so against letting them watch it. Why did you continue to let them watch a baby get cut out of a stomach?
Yeah, I think that goes beyond morbid curiosity.
It does.
Just a theory.
But she even acknowledges that because they're like, hey, why'd you turn it off? Probably Timmy, because he was just being a little turd. Mm-hmm. But... she says something like, you're too young to watch a baby get cut out of a stomach.
Right.
So she knows what's happening. It's not like she's just entranced, right?
Right.
But either way, she turns it off, and she's like, you need to go upstairs, brush your teeth, go to bed. Mm-hmm. So they go upstairs. They immediately start fighting.
Yes.
Of course.
Like, complete siblings,
like,
for sure.
Timmy spit in her hair when they're brushing their teeth together, whatever. And Sarah starts chatting with a friend on the phone.
Yes.
You mentioned when we were watching it back that there was a really good jump scare here. So she hears something outside, and she's going to, like, look out the window, and the house gets egged.
Yeah.
The egg, the way it hits the window so fast, I think you're like, that actually scared me.
Yeah, I jumped. I jumped. And I've seen the movie, like, a million times, and I still jumped.
Yeah. So it turns out there's kids egging the house, whatever. And they show Tia, one of the girl, in her room, and... they show that the bedroom door starts creaking open, or the closet door.
The closet,
starts creaking open. And she's slowly going to the closet, about to check it out. And then Sarah comes in the room.
Yeah.
So she doesn't.
As a little kid, like, I remember being like, do you remember that? Like, when you were little and, like, you thought you heard something?
Oh, my gosh.
It was so scary.
Yes. I was so scared of everything when I was a kid.
I was pretty scared too. I mean, I think I know why, but yeah, I was pretty scared too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. But my thing is, I would have been screaming for my mom at this point. So, when Sarah comes in, they have a little chat, whatever. And I'm thinking, why did you not say, like, hey, there's something in my closet? Because I feel like that's a little kid thing to do of, like, will you check under the bed? Will you check in the closet?
I felt the same way about it too.
Yeah.
I felt the same. I wonder if she felt, like, embarrassed to do that because they just watched that movie.
Yeah. And I also wondered, I love how we're just speculating on, like, what these characters were thinking, but it's just fun sometimes.
It's fun.
So I'm thinking, I can remember being a kid, and especially, I don't know how old Sarah was supposed to be here, but let's just say, I don't know, early 20s.
Yeah.
And you look at people like that, like they're cool.
No, you're so right. Like, Sarah's, like, cool as
like,
man.
she's the cool older babysitter, and I don't want to, seem uncool and show that I'm scared.
Yes, I agree.
I'm just adding things.
We're just speculating, but who knows, I don't know.
Yes. So Sarah goes back downstairs, having a glass of wine. Okay, love that for her. And then she's staring at this VHS, and her curiosity is getting the best of her.
Yep.
And she decides to watch the rest of the video while the kids are in bed.
Yeah, I would not.
I would be scared.
I would too.
I would have been scared. I keep saying it. I would have been too afraid to watch it in the first place.
Yeah.
But I also understand when you feel so afraid of something or a concept, you almost want to just watch it because you feel like whatever they're going to show you can't be as bad as what you're imagining. Because now your imagination is going wild.
Right.
But I'm also thinking you don't know where this VHS came from. So what if it's like a snuff film or something?
Yeah. I don't think I would. I don't think I would watch it if I were Sarah, especially after watching that opening.
Yeah.
I don't think I maybe if I was with, like, a group of people, I would, but I wouldn't do it alone.
No, especially not alone. But Sarah does. So the next segment is not one of the short films from before. This one was added for this movie.
Yeah.
And it shows a woman named Caroline talking to her friend on the phone, and she's unpacking. It looks like a new house. She just moved in.
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. They're outside the city, and she's not quite used to being so far from the city.
Right. And she has a husband, John, who's not home. And she mentions that John is an artist.
Yes.
And his newest painting creeps her out so bad that she doesn't even want to be in the same room as it.
Right.
So she has a sheet over it.
Yeah.
He also told her that he doesn't remember painting it. She's telling her friend.
Yeah.
Which, very concerning.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't know. Maybe sometimes artists just like get into like that space.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's what she's rationalizing it with, you know?
I mean, unless maybe John, takes an edible every night and
I get it.
She's just like, oh, okay, yeah, he just
Yeah.
was in the zone.
Yeah. He zones in. He gets real creative. I get it. All right.
So as she's on the phone, or after she's off the phone, actually, a bright light seems to crash near the house. And there's a power outage. So she's like trying to...
Like, and her phone is making like crinkly sounds, isn't it?
Crinkly sounds.
You know what I mean?
I don't know
Like-
why that sounds funny.
Like
Yeah.
static, like her friend is like broken out, right? Like not broken out, like she can't hear her friend anymore. It's like breaking out.
Phone's not working.
Right.
Power's not working. She's trying to figure out. She can't figure it out. She tries to go to her car. Her car won't start either.
Can I tell you something really quick?
Please.
Okay, so maybe like a month ago, I'm chilling in the living room, and all of a sudden, my power goes out. Which I don't think that's a big deal. Like, I'm kind of just like, oh, the power's out.
No, but it always scares me when that happens.
So I open my like front like sheet.
I promise you, she has curtains.
They're curtains. They're not sheets. Dear Lord. I open up the curtains and I look down and the whole street's out.
Yeah.
Okay, now wait.
This is at night?
This is at night. It's like 11 o'clock at night. The whole street is out. I may or may not have I may or may not did some gardening before this. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, why is the entire street out? So I'm looking around and I look down and not only our street, the whole area is blackout.
Okay.
And I start to use my phone and the internet's down.
Oh, no.
When I tell you the sheer panic that ran through my body, I was like, oh my God, the aliens have arrived.
I was just going to say, did you think aliens?
I thought aliens, or I thought like, I don't know, there was some kind of invasion and they shut down the power grid and they shut down the Wi-Fi so we couldn't communicate to each other.
Oh my gosh, the aliens.
Like, the plane came in and he was like, what are you doing? And I was sitting in the living room with my two dogs, just like, babe, I gotta tell you what's going on. Like, he was like, boo, it's okay, And it was literally, there was a power outage because all the AC units were going.
Yeah.
And it caused like a gridlock or something like that. Anyway.
Anytime the power goes out now, I'm going to hear you going, oh my gosh, it's the aliens.
No, for real. Dude, so in this specific, I totally would have been like panicking.
Yes.
Freaking the f out.
So she gets a call from John, her husband. A call does come through from him. She's talking to him, freaking out, telling him basically what you were saying. You were telling the Blade. So power's out, car won't start, all this stuff. And she's like, I swear I saw something in the house. There's something in the house.
Right.
And
sure is.
As he's telling her that no one is in the house, you see a figure behind her start to rise with a sheet over it.
Like, my question to you is this. Why is her husband trying to tell her there's nobody in the house? What if someone was in the house?
How do you know?
You don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
But I guess just trying to reassure her so she calms
calm
down.
her down.
Yeah, just calm down.
And like at this point, she doesn't even know who her neighbors are.
Right.
She's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Does she even have neighbors? I don't even know.
I mean, I think she does, but they're probably like far down the street.
Yeah. So because it's so funny because this also similar situation happened when we covered Hell Night with a figure rising in the background with something over it. And I asked, like, why the sheets? Why are there always sheets when someone's moving in or moving out?
There's always like furniture covered in like sheets.
So she, in this situation, because they just moved in, had a bunch of sheets, something rises with a sheet over it, and then the call drops. So basically, this was a really good jump scare. She pans up and basically she finds like this robot alien thing chilling in her house. But as they pan up, you don't really understand what you're looking at.
Right.
Like your brain hasn't processed what this is. And then he just turns.
It's actually really creepy.
Yeah.
It made me jump the first time I saw it.
I thought that was actually a really good jump scare. And because it's not like you see the back of someone's head. You don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And this alien is in her house. he almost looked like he had a vacuum on him. Was he trying to like vacuum her? It looked like at one point.
Yeah, I don't know what he was carrying.
It was like on part of his body was like a vacuum.
Yeah.
And
Yo, do you think he could like suck her up in there?
that's what it looked like he was trying to do for a second. So I wasn't really sure about that.
Or
but
like he's trying to figure out what she is. Like, what is this creature?
That's his like sensor.
Yeah, he's like,
So the alien at one point turns on a switch on his body that emits such a powerful sound that Caroline starts screaming and her nose starts bleeding. So it's like a crazy loud noise.
It's so high pitched.
And then eventually the alien does get Caroline, because this is a short film, so we get to the point pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Eventually does get Caroline, starts dragging her away, and as Caroline's being dragged away, she is grabbing onto whatever she can, and she grabs the sheet that's covering her husband's painting. And finally she rips it down as she gets pulled away, because the alien does get her. And it's a really, really creepy portrait of art.
Sure is, yeah. Great picture, great painting. Yeah.
So at this point, I remember I turned to you and I was like, so is Art an alien? Like, are they trying to insinuate that he's like, maybe there's something alien about him? And you looked into it.
Yeah, no.
And I think Damien had said in an interview that he's like, yeah, actually, I regret putting that one in there.
Yeah, like I think they added that painting just to tie Art into every single story.
Right.
But I don't think he has there's no real lore to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
understand why they did that. Like, obviously, they want to make sure that Art, because he's the central focus of the movie, really, that he would be in every short story. But yeah, I don't think there's an actual, like, there's no lore behind that.
Yeah. They needed another little short film to put in there.
So
and
it's an
they were
actual
like,
full-length movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will go on record and saying I think it's not my favorite.
Yeah, that one was not my favorite.
But I'm not an alien type of gal.
No.
Ooh, wait, hold on. Alien.
I was going to say.
Give me some Xenos.
I'm looking up at your, wherever it is.
Oh my God. I don't know if you can see them, but there's a whole bunch of xenomorphs behind me. See them down there?
Oh yeah, sure are.
I got
I
a
can see 'em.
whole bunch down there.
If you're watching the YouTube video, maybe you can. I don't know if you can see it in the shot.
I love Alien. In fact, I loved Alien Romulus. I loved it.
That's a new one, right?
Oh my God.
I didn't watch it yet.
Face huggers and Xenos galore. I'm not giving any spoilers, but let me tell you, Alien fans, you'll be happy to see our pals, the Xenos. But anyways.
But yeah, so I think we mentioned in our intro episode
Yeah.
that space is not something that really turns us on when we see that that's what a movie is like solely focused on.
Yeah, like
in general.
Yeah, there are some exceptions to that, but I agree. The whole concept of aliens doesn't really. What did you call it that one time? I don't know. The way that you worded it was pretty funny.
About aliens?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
You said like rev your engine or something. It was pretty funny.
Get my motor running.
Yeah, get your motor running.
Or juices flowing.
Yeah, it does. Ew.
Yes. That one's way worse. So that short film is now over. We're back at the house, and Sarah sees someone peeking around the corner. Because now she's getting more and more paranoid. She's like, what is going on here? This is creepy.
Shouldn't have watched that movie, Sarah.
No, because it's like, did she see this? Is she imagining something?
Right.
I didn't really catch even what it was. I imagine it was art, but I couldn't even see if it was.
It almost looked like a monster.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I could be wrong. It didn't fully look like art. It almost just looked like some kind of creature or monster or something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it was art. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess we don't really know. But anyway, so she can't tell what it is, but she goes upstairs to check on the kids. And she thinks it's the kids, naturally, because why wouldn't you think anything else? So.
Oh, and we do have to point out that, what's her name? Tia is now sleeping with her brother. It was a really cute scene. She she's scared, and she knocks on his door, and she's like, Timmy, can I sleep with you? And you can tell she's really embarrassed. And he's kind of like, why? What? Because you're scared?
And you're scared?
And she just looks down. And I loved the scene, though, because he let her come in. You know, he's a good big brother. I think he's probably older than her. Maybe he's younger. I don't know. They didn't really say.
For some reason, I thought he looked younger. But either way.
Who knows? But in any event, the fact that he knew she was scared and like a sweetheart was like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
Come and sleep with me. Kind of like rolls his eyes. And I also wonder low-key if he was a little bit scared too.
Right.
And, wanted his
like,
sister there.
Sure. If you're scared, I guess you can.
Yeah. And I thought it was very cute and innocent and pure.
Yeah.
You know?
It's legit. Like my siblings and I have always been like that. We will beat the shit out of each other, but no one else can.
No, I mean, I know. My older sister, like, I really, still to this day, like, I looked at her like she could protect me from literally everyone and
Aw.
anything and like it's still to this day I look at her like that. But yeah, when I was a kid, it was like as long as Amanda was there, I would be fine, you know?
Aw.
Yeah.
Your sister's name is Amanda?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
My sister's name is Amanda.
Really?
How do we not know this about each other?
I don't know.
That's
That's so
crazy.
weird.
Anyway.
Okay.
Okay, so naturally she thinks that it's the kids. Mm-hmm. She goes upstairs, they're in bed, and she's like, all right, like, you know, I know you're pretending to sleep or whatever. And the kids also think that Sarah kept coming in to check on them.
Oh yeah, because Timmy says like, I know you were messing with the handle and
Yeah.
trying to freak us out.
And she's like, I would have more questions.
No, I immediately would be like, kids, you know what? Like, we've been having a great night here. Let's get in the car. Let's go to McDonald's. Like,
real.
I would get them out of there.
For real. So,
Oh, honestly though, do you remember when you were a kid and all of a sudden, out of the blue, you'd get to go to McDonald's? It was very rare.
oh, the best.
I mean,
A little treat.
oh, especially if like something traumatic in my life happened, my mom would be like, get in the car. We're going to go get chicken nuggets. You know what I mean? Loved it. It was great. Anyway, it was
Hell
rare,
yeah.
but
So, Sarah decides to go downstairs and watch the last part of the VHS.
this is why I think that she is like hooked.
Because they do show her just kind of staring at the tape.
Yeah, I think they tape like calls to you.
Yeah. Either way,
And what? I so want to know, like, who gave him the tape?
oh, like who dropped it in his
I
bag?
want to know the lore.
Yeah.
I want to hear from Damien. I want him to tell us who was it.
Yeah, because you would think that it had to have been someone at their house because he was trick-or-treating. Timmy was trick-or-treating. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like Art the Clown on the street.
No.
You think he would have been like, oh, some guy walked up to me on the street. So who in their house gave it to him? Unless...
What is this a tape? Is this like a traveling tape? I don't know, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
Did it just appear in his bag?
Does it change depending on who watches it?
Yeah. Because also you would think he would have seen a person drop that in his bag.
Yeah.
It's huge.
So maybe it did. Maybe it just showed up in his bag.
I mean...
I don't know.
It's a little supernatural, so I would believe it.
No, yeah. I mean, the whole movie is supernatural, so that makes sense to me. But I'm just curious.
Which, this next part of the VHS is the first time that I went, oh, okay, there's some supernatural elements here.
Okay.
That was confirmed for me anyway.
The Satan didn't do that for you in the first one?
Okay, so in the first one, no, because it's not Art. Like, we never see Art in that one except at the subway station.
Oh, so you're saying you didn't realize Art was supernatural?
Yes.
Got you. Okay, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I understand that.
This
Yeah,
is-
I could see that. Actually,
Yeah.
I agree with you because I also didn't get the impression that Art was supernatural in the very first segment.
You said Satan didn't do that for you. So,
He looked like, by the way, Satan. He reminded me so much of Darkness from Legend,
oh yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Great makeup.
It
really
was
good.
Really good makeup.
It was great,
Which,
yeah.
Each creature here, it really blows my mind that Damien really did all this. All of it.
I know. It's unreal.
Wild.
So skilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the tape is calling to Sarah. She eventually watches it. And the last part of the VHS, we see a girl driving down the road at the witching hour. I love that they say that on the radio. You looked at me.
I looked right at her. I was like, see what you've done to me?
I looked over and she was already looking at me, and that scared me. Because I didn't know you were already looking at me.
I'm like, my eyes
Yeah, I
are
was
on you,
like, "Oh."
man. You ruined it for me.
So
No, first of all, okay, wait. Can I just interject something? I
Please.
loved when I brought it up in the other episode. You're like the Brandon Motor Lodge. Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
knew the name.
I knew.
So funny.
Let me tell you the lore about the Brandon Motor Lodge.
There's a
okay?
lot. There's a lot. Okay.
There really is. So this girl is driving down the street, and we don't know her name yet, but we see that her gas is on E. Mm-hmm. So she stops at the gas station. And you mentioned something here when we rewatched.
Yes.
That as avid travelers,
Yeah.
we know that you really try your best, and we don't know what happened. We don't know the circumstances,
Right.
but you try your best to make sure that you do not have to go to a gas station at night.
No, I plan my route so clearly that I know when exactly to fill my tank so that I'll have enough to get to either the destination that I'm heading to.
Yeah.
Or I know specifically there's like a well lit service station. And even then I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Just I don't like pumping gas by myself at night, especially if I'm somewhere I'm not familiar with.
Yeah. I mean, I hate pumping gas, period.
No, same. No, 100%.
And also, we have done overnight trips where you do have to stop at some point at night.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're looking for those gas stations. We're not waiting until E for sure.
There's no way. And I especially wouldn't stop at a gas station like this.
No.
Not a chance.
No, especially, and if I know that it's getting dark, I'm like, okay, even if I have half a tank, I don't care. I'm stopping.
No, I'm filling.
I'm topping it off.
And actually on long road trips, I always fill at half a tank. Like I very rarely let it get past half.
I usually, I'm a quarter type of gal.
Okay.
I know that's a little more of a risk, but I don't know. Honestly, when I'm home, I will ride that bitch into the ground. Like, I will.
No, I know.
It'll be like 10
yeah.
miles to E, and I'm like, I'll just stop by the house.
That happened to me last week. I was like, oh God, it's counting down. We're counting down.
Oh, I've pulled into the gas station before when it's literally said 1 mile to E, and I think even 0 at one point.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I believe it. I believe it. Listen, sometimes it happens.
Just so you know, in modern cars, even when it says 0, you still have a little bit.
You got a little bit.
Don't risk it, though.
Are you kidding? Modern cars. My Corolla, when I was like on the Indies and I was driving like, I don't know, all over the place. My Corolla, that gal, when she hit E, I went, no, sister. You've still got a little time in you.
I know.
Few more miles.
I know how
She
long
did.
it takes.
She did.
Oh, the good old days. Okay, so this girl, nonetheless, is on E. She has to stop at this gas station.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have another choice. And she seems like she's in the middle of nowhere. As soon as she pulled up, I was like, oh, they must be in Jersey. Because she starts honking the horn.
Oh yeah, you did point this out.
Yeah,
That you
so-
can't like pump your own gas or something, right?
Yes, so I learned way back in my independent wrestling days. I mean, I'm still on the indies, but I mean, like, in the beginning, when I used to go to WSU back in the day, which was in Jersey a lot, that it is illegal to pump your own gas in New Jersey, and it still is to this day.
Whoa.
So you have to have an
Oh.
attendant come and pump your gas for you, which, personally, I love. I just said I hate pumping gas.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but you know what this reminded me of? It reminded me of there's an anthology called Nightmares, and it's like an urban legend. And this girl goes to a gas station, and the whole point of it is like there's actually a man in her back seat, but she thinks it's the guy pumping her gas that is like this killer on the loose. But it turns out the killer's actually in her back seat. It's great.
Oh my
It's a
gosh.
really fun anthology movie
Yeah.
with really cute shorts, and that is an urban legend. It's not a spoiler, okay? It's just an urban legend.
Yeah, that's a common urban legend.
Yeah. But that's kind of what, when she pulled up, that's what made me think of that.
Yeah. She also mentioned she's heading to New York, so I'm like, okay, this is
Makes
Jersey.
sense. Yeah.
And I actually looked it up because these are the things that I research for some reason when I'm watching a movie. I just get curious.
Mm-hmm.
And New Jersey is now the only state where it is illegal to pump your own gas.
Whoa.
So Oregon used to have that rule as well, but they lifted its ban statewide just last year.
Whoa.
Actually, almost exactly 1 year ago, August 2023.
Why do you think that is?
Why they lifted it or why they had the ban?
why Jersey has a ban?
I didn't get that deep into their lore.
Okay,
But
fair.
I started to almost look into it, but I was like, I need to actually write notes about this movie.
Yeah, no, the rabbit holes that we will go
Yes.
down, there's a lot of them.
But I am
Yeah.
curious. I'm
Me
curious
too.
why that is. But also, I love it because I don't want to pump my own gas. I know that there used to be a lot of not self-service. We do
Full
self-service
service.
now.
Yeah.
Full service stations, even in Michigan, for example.
Yeah.
But you have the choice.
Yeah, same with in Toronto, same thing.
Yeah.
I used to do it in the winter.
I feel like my mom told me, like, oh, yeah, I used to have them pump my gas back in the day. I wasn't going to pump my own gas. I was like, oh.
Well, I get it,
Okay.
Mom. I understand. I hate it too.
For real. So, anyway, back to the movie. A gas station attendant, who, by the way, was also the voice of Caroline's husband, John, in that last movie.
Oh, fun tidbit. I love that.
Last short part of the film. Chases Art away and starts yelling at him. He's like kicking him out of the bathroom.
Right.
And he's like,
because doesn't he say like that he like pissed and shit all over the walls?
Yes.
You know that happened to me once when I was working at a coffee
oh,
shop.
I'm like, you and piss all over the walls.
No, I was working at a coffee shop once, and a lady came and asked to use the bathroom. I handed her the key. I just started working there. Someone that also worked there was like, "Please tell me you did not give her that key." And I said, "Why?" She went down there and she and rubbed it all over the walls. So it does happen. People
Why
do that.
Did they not put that in their
The handbook.
pamphlet for when you started?
There's like a picture of her on the wall. Do not give her a key.
I mean, you would imagine if that's what she's going to do, yes, she should have her picture on the wall.
I don't know, man. It did happen. So this stuff like that does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. So, yeah, he's like, you can't smear your and piss all over the walls. And Art's like...
He's like making funny faces and
with his
laughing.
hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ew. So Art gets chased away. He starts pumping her gas. The gas station attendant
Sure,
starts
yeah.
pumping her gas. And, you know, they're having a little conversation. He's trying to give her directions on which highway to take and all that.
Yeah, because she's kind of lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he goes back into his office, I guess.
He hears something.
Yes.
He hears a sound and he goes, "Can you just wait 1 second?" Because he thinks that Art is back.
Right. Actually, I think she even says, "What was that?"
Yeah,
And he's
because you hear
"Uh."
like a bang or something.
Yes. So he goes into what I imagine is the office.
Yeah.
And he's taking a minute.
I thought the this scene where she's just standing there and it's dark and she's looking around. I thought they captured that fear so well. And I also have to say, like, I loved how grainy this short was. It really felt almost like Grindhouse.
Yeah.
It had that, like, 35 milliliters? Milliliter. Oh my God.
Millimeter.
Yeah, it had that,
Yeah.
like, sort of old school vibe. I really, really enjoyed that. But this specific scene, when she's standing there, you can feel her getting, like, more and more uncomfortable. She can't just drive away.
Yeah.
I would have, personally. I would have dropped a 20 on top and been like, peace out, I'm out of
Yeah.
here. I just thought it was really well
Yeah.
done. Really well
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
So eventually she is like, all right, maybe I should go check on him. I need to go see what's up. Also, I need to get out of here. So can you speed it up a little bit? So she goes into the office and she just finds Art just casually dismembering this gas station attendant on the floor.
What, like a hacksaw?
Like a, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, I think it was a hacksaw.
Like a hacksaw or handsaw, bone saw, something
Some
like
type of
that.
saw.
Yeah.
just casually.
Yeah.
And
Just
very,
cutting his body parts up.
very art fashion. I think he's like cutting off his head at this point.
He's having a good time, man.
And her face, I thought was so good because she just, it's like, it goes from zero to like confusion to disgust to full blown fear.
Right. Because that's it. Like you don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Could you imagine walking into that?
Nope.
No.
Sure can't.
Nope. Nope.
So naturally, she gets in her car. She speeds away.
She
at this
gets
point.
out of there. Yeah.
She's like, all right, I'm out of here. She goes to call the police, and of course, her cell battery dies.
Yeah.
And this is the moment that I went, okay, there's a supernatural element here.
Okay.
Because she is speeding away from this gas station. We just saw that Art was back at the gas station, very busy, had his hands full, quite literally. And she now sees Art on the side of the road holding a sign, a cardboard sign that said circus.
That is true. And there's like kind of like circusy music. And she also was on the phone. She was talking on the phone and she was saying, you need to call 911. Like she's having a conversation with someone. I think she's trying to talk to her boyfriend.
Before the battery dies.
Before
yeah.
the battery dies. And it doesn't fully die. It just says like, it's almost dead.
Or like low battery maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because she makes another phone call, right? Doesn't she make another phone call and she's explaining like, or maybe it's the same phone call, but it's important to the story.
Yeah.
It's like she's saying, there's been a murder.
Yeah.
I'm on Route 94.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And so here, I think she even yells, "That's not possible," when she sees Art.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, he's not just a man in a costume.
Sure isn't.
Something else is going on here. So she finds someone in a car on the side of the road, which we both thought this was a questionable move.
Oh my
She
God.
sees a car on the side of the road. I understand she's trying to find help, but
I would never pull over I know
No.
that sounds terrible, but as a solo woman there's no way I would.
But because also you have no idea what you're walking into.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do?
And why are you at the side of the road?
Maybe she thought that they had a cell phone.
It's true.
A working
true.
cell phone.
There are multiple reasons why.
Sure.
And she's panicking.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So she stops, she goes out to the car, and she goes and grabs this person who is like face first into the steering wheel already. I don't know that I want to touch this person or open the door, but she goes and grabs their shoulder. As they turn, we see that I'm presuming that Art has done something to this person, and
Yeah.
it looks like their face was like skinned or like cut up.
It does track because when you do watch Terrifier 2,
He does similar things to
yeah,
people.
I don't want to completely like spoil everything if you
Right.
haven't seen those movies, but it does track.
Yeah.
It's
So-
Art's signature for sure.
Yeah. So weird skinned, cut up face, hands chopped off.
And she's kind of like, it looks like she's trying to ask for help.
Yeah.
But also
Oh yeah, she's alive. I don't know if I mentioned that part.
she's alive, but she's been so mutilated that like, to be honest, it's hard to even decipher if she's a person.
Yeah.
You know?
Or a she for that matter. We have no idea.
We have no idea.
So now Do we learn this girl's name? Because I keep writing she, but I don't know that I actually wrote down this character's name.
Couldn't tell you.
Okay, well, we're just gonna
Just roll with it.
Yeah, just the girl, okay? So now she's speeding away again, and as she's driving, Art just casually pops up in her back seat. He just like peeks his head over, that's one of my irrational fears. Maybe not irrational. Maybe it's not irrational, but he pops up and he puts a plastic bag over her face, and now he's pulling on it and suffocating her. And she does the logical thing, which is poke a hole in her mouth and rip it open.
Yeah. I was rooting for her, man.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, girl, get it off your head.
Get it.
Yeah.
And so now that she can see, she slams on the brakes and Art slams into the dashboard.
Yeah. Great move.
Yes.
Great move.
And now she gets out of the car and she starts running through the woods.
Yes. And by the way, I agree with you. Somebody popping up in my back seat is a fear. I check my back seat every time I get in my car, especially at night. I do it every time.
Me too.
So just so you guys know, if you try, I'm going to check.
It's not going to work.
Not working.
So she finds like an abandoned building of some sort here in the woods, and she locks herself in. This mother...
I love this scene. I was like, man, is he resourceful?
Art starts coming up through the floor.
Because it's kind of like a barn.
Yeah, it's like mostly dirt.
It's like, yeah, picture it like a shack, like a barn shack without floor. It's just like dirt. Yeah, ground.
Yeah. So he just starts coming up through the floor.
I mean, he digs his way under.
Yeah.
He's like the beavers in Zombievers.
I was going to say Bugs Bunny for some reason. I don't even know if Bugs Bunny does that. I'm just picturing digging a tunnel. It just seems like a Looney Tunes thing to do.
Yeah, it does, yeah. He took some notes.
Yeah. So now she wants to get out of this barn, of course, and she can't get the door open. Art starts whipping her.
Oh my gosh.
With basically a makeshift cat of nine tail. That's what it's called, right?
I have no idea.
I think so. Cat of nine tails is like, well, it's like a whip with 9 different
Terrifying
blades.
Though. Dude, that was so scary.
It's a makeshift one, so it's a chain. He has a chain that has various knives, blades, and even syringes on the end of it as the 9 tails.
I would love that prop. It would look so cool at my house.
As long as it's very not functional.
You're like, I don't think you should buy one.
I don't think you should have it.
Maybe don't DIY that one.
Don't DIY it for sure. So eventually, as he's whipping her, because he just whips her for like a minute, and eventually one of the blades, which happens to be a scalpel, falls off of it because it's makeshift. It's not very sturdy. And
which I think is very fitting for Art.
Yeah. He's just like, oh, just threw this together this morning.
Whatever.
So a scalpel falls off, and she grabs it and stabs Art through the eye.
It's great.
Okay. Then she grabs a knife. She grabs the whole weapon that he made, really, and takes a knife from it and stabs him in the back. So he falls face first, and you're thinking, like, okay, did he die? I don't know. I mean, if you listen to this whole episode, you already know he's not going to.
He ain't dead.
He's not going to die. But she runs out of the barn, finally. Art's still face down. She flags down a car.
Yeah.
And they start driving away. So you're like, come on. I was rooting for her. I really was. They show Art starting to get up a little bit, and they're making, like, creepy noises. It's very like, ooh, this is supernatural. He's not dead. And now, as they're driving away, Art has somehow obtained a car, which at this point I'm like, that's probably one of the that's one of the least questionable things. You know what? Sure, you got a car.
Yeah.
Maybe you found it from that guy that was like, that his face was skinned. I don't know.
Yeah.
So Art pulls up alongside of them.
This is great.
Pulls out a gun.
I was not expecting this.
No. I wrote down his weapon game has spared no expense.
He's got everything.
He has every weapon under the sun.
He has it all.
He shoots the driver, and the car crashes into a tree, which I feel so bad, obviously, for everyone, but also this poor innocent guy.
Oh, he was just trying to help her.
Just trying to help her. And this is why sometimes you'll hear people say, like, you just can't help people. Like, you know, you can't put yourself in that situation, but, like, also you want to be the one to help someone.
No, of course, but you do have to take your own safety into account.
But if you see someone on the side of the road, I don't know, would you pick them up?
No.
I feel like, especially...
I wouldn't.
Also, we are in a different situation as women. We are.
Yeah.
This was a guy who, you know, sees a woman on the side of the road. He's like, oh, I'm going to help her.
Yeah.
If I see anyone on the side of the road, especially in 2024, I'm going to call the police for you. But
I would be more than willing to call the cops.
Yeah.
But I'm not pulling over.
No.
I don't know you. I'm sorry. Like, and I'm not equipped to handle if you're if you're up to something nefarious. Like, how do I not know that? You know, how do I
we hear
know?
so many stories of people being decoys too.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it can be a woman on the side of the road that's being a decoy.
Yeah.
We were told when I used to work in fast food, we were told, like, if somebody comes and knocks on the door after the lobby is closed, do not open the door
No,
for
me
them.
too. Me too, yeah.
There was a scam where it would look like a pregnant woman was like, please let me use the bathroom. Do not open the door because there are men waiting to come in once you unlock that door to rob you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's always some psychopath has to ruin it for everybody else.
It's very
honestly.
unfortunate because,
It is,
then you ruin everyone's kindness because it's like, well, now I can't. What if it really was this pregnant woman that just is, I'm sorry, you have to pee your pants. I can't help you.
Right.
Because of things like this.
Yeah.
But, yeah, in those situations, they're like, call the police for this person if they need the police, but don't unlock the door.
Yeah.
Don't pick them up. Or there was another scam. Sorry, I'm like going into this, but it's legit where there would be a, what is it called? A baby carrier. What is it called?
Like a car seat?
A car seat.
Yeah.
A car seat on the side of the road. Or
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that where you pull over because you're like, is this a baby? Because it would be like covered, or it would be someone pushing a stroller on the side of the road. Something to where you're like, oh, I need to help these people. And it's a decoy.
It's horrifying.
Anyway, call the police for them, but maybe, just be cautious.
Yeah, be cautious.
Okay, so where was I?
So that he shoots him. So Art
Yes.
shoots him, and the van crashes, or the car
Yes.
crashes. I'm sorry.
Yes, car crashes into a tree. She wakes up in some kind of terrifying, no pun intended, actually pun definitely intended, operating table.
Like it's and when we say operating table, but this is like
Makeshift.
it's makeshift, and it's really dirty in there. Like, as she's kind of looking around, she's starting to see there's like a bunch of like, as she's waking up, she sees there's like weapons, and they've all like dirty, not axes.
Maybe there might have been an axe there.
Just like dirty equipment.
Yeah.
Covered in blood.
Blood, like chunks of flesh.
It's very like Grindhouse. It's very like, yeah, it's gross.
I think you can hear flies. That does something to me.
Yeah.
I hate flies so much. You already know.
Yeah, I know.
I hate flies. I hate maggots.
It reminded me of Texas Chainsaw a little bit.
Ugh.
You know?
The sound of a fly just pisses me off. It really does.
It's like mosquitoes for me. It sends me.
Oh, yeah. Mosquitoes irritate me too, but I think just because flies are so dirty.
I know.
Anyway, so we pan out. Actually, we don't even pan out yet. We see that she's on this table. She's looking around, sees all the disgusting equipment. She starts looking down at her body, and we're starting to see just little pieces of her body. And we see that Art has carved into her horrible words.
things. Horrible words. Yeah.
Like bitch,
slut.
Yeah. I think those are the three that we see. Maybe there's another one when we pan out. I don't know.
Yeah.
And we see like stitches. And so then it pans out, and you see that all 4 of her limbs have been severed. And her body is she's completely nude.
Yeah.
And these words are carved into her body, and she's just freaking out. And Art, of course, is doing his silent laugh.
It's horrifying.
Hate it.
It was absolutely horrifying.
And I wrote everything that he just did to her. And I wrote, just for shits and gigs, I guess. And then I wrote, that's pretty much his gimmick. And giggles.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah. Also, little tidbit. This version of Art the Clown was actually played by Mike Gianelli, who is different from Art in Terrifier and Terrifier 2, who's played by David let me try it again. David Howard Thornton.
Yes.
So it's interesting, two different renditions of Art the Clown.
Yes.
You kind of get to see when you continue the series.
I read that the first person who played Art decided when Terrifier 2016 was going to, start production that he didn't want to pursue big acting roles anymore.
Yeah, I tried to look up the lore on that. I think he was a friend maybe of Damien.
Okay.
I'm not really sure, but yeah, so then the actor changes. But I just wanted to point that out. If you end up watching the rest of the series, you'll notice there's a difference, and Art evolves.
Yeah.
He does.
And it's interesting because in between the first, because that's the end of this third short film now.
Yes.
And the end of the VHS tape, we think. So between the first short film, The Ninth Circle, and then the last one, which was the Terrifier short film, I do notice, even though it is the same actor in these two films, I do notice a big difference in Art the Clown.
There's a difference. He's evolved for sure.
I mean, one was 2008, one was 2011.
Yeah.
So it's enough. It's a few years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do see a difference in what he looked like.
Yeah. This Terrifier short stuck with me for like a long time.
Yeah, the ending is brutal.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah, so now we're back with Sarah, the babysitter, and she's trying to turn off the tape, and she's obviously disgusted.
Yeah.
And she can't turn it off.
She cannot.
And it starts playing the dismembering scene where with the gas station attendant.
Yep.
Again, under like a static overlay,
Mm-hmm.
and she's trying to frantically turn off this VHS, and Art looks up at her and like seemingly makes eye contact with her.
Yep.
Which is super creepy, but she does get it off. She
Yeah.
turns off the tape for a second.
Yeah.
So then the phone rings, and
I loved this. What a great tie-in.
I love it because it's not spelled out for you, and once you realize what's happening, it's just so scary.
Yeah.
So she answers the phone, and she's hearing the same dialogue from the last girl in the movie.
Yeah.
When that girl was on the phone with the police.
That's right.
Which was like, you have to come down, I'm on 94.
I'm on Route 94. There's been a murder.
Yeah. And it clicks in your brain like, oh my gosh, it's the same dialogue
Yep.
that she just heard. And it clicks in Sarah's brain too.
Yeah, Sarah realizes like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously she's freaking out. And then the tape starts playing again.
that's right.
VHS tapes just freak me out.
I love it.
Even though I love them from my childhood,
I just got a VCR. I'm trying to hook it up to my TV.
don't get this tape.
Oh, I'm trying not to, although I kind of want it. Anyway.
I was going to say, you probably want it.
Kind of want it.
So the tape starts playing again. And now it's just like a still shot of like a boiler room, I want to call it.
No, it's like a boiler
Yeah.
room, like in a basement, like
Yeah.
a boiler room in a basement. Yeah.
And you don't see anyone. But then out of nowhere, Art just pops out.
Yep.
And he slowly starts walking up to the screen. Mm-hmm. I love this.
I did too. It was great.
And he's getting really close to the glass, and Sarah's watching. She can't turn off the tape. There's really nothing she can do. And then Art is like all the way up to the camera lens, and he starts banging on the glass of the TV, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
He's
is-
like he's like miming at first, and then he starts banging on it.
Yes.
So scary. And okay, keep going.
Oh, no, go ahead if you want to go to the next part.
Well, she's like really weirded out by this.
Yeah.
And she's like trying to like get the tape out.
Yes.
And doesn't the TV switch now
Yes.
to she can see herself
Yes.
on the TV with an Art is sitting on the couch behind her.
Yes. And she keeps looking behind her, but he's not there in
He's
real
not
life.
actually there, but he's on the TV and she's on the TV. And he gets up and he's walking slowly towards her, and she can only see it through the TV.
Yeah.
She's freaking out, and she gets the tape out. She gets
Finally.
it to finally stop.
Right before he's going to grab her, it looks like.
Right before he's gonna grab her. Yes.
So she gets out the tape, she ejects the tape, and she smashes it.
She does,
Which,
yeah.
reasonable reaction.
And honestly, the audience, I feel like in that moment is like, okay, she's destroyed Art. He didn't catch her. It was to me, it reminded me of how, like, Are You Afraid of the Dark would conclude, right? Like, if this was like, if this
yeah.
was more of like a happier ending.
Yeah.
I liked the twist that didn't actually end
Yeah.
him, you know?
Yeah.
I liked that.
So at this point, she hears Tia scream upstairs.
Yeah.
Like, just this whole scene, this whole lead to the finish. Okay, so naturally, she runs upstairs. She's going to run upstairs, and she gets like halfway up, and then she sees Art standing at the top of the stairs now. Now he's out of the tape, and
Yep.
he's in real life.
Yep.
So she thinks.
Oh, and he's got blood on him too.
Blood all over him, and Sarah just breaks down. She starts crying because what do you do in that situation? He's blocking the way, he's blocking the path to the kids, and it certainly looks like he hurt them.
Sure does,
because
yeah.
he's covered in blood. Mm-hmm. And she starts to break down for a second, and then she looks up, and Art's gone.
Yep. So I think there's a moment of like, did I see that? Am I losing it? Like, yeah.
So she runs to the kids' rooms and finds that Tia and Timmy's severed heads are just chilling in the bed. Mm-hmm. So Art obviously really did hurt them.
Sure did.
And then Art is written on the wall in blood.
Mm-hmm.
So is this where he's named? Is this where we find out what his name is for
I think
the first
so.
time?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But they also do something at the very, very end that I really liked.
Oh, the almost post credit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is they show the same clip that Sarah just watched, where Art pops his head out and walks slowly toward the screen and is like banging at the glass. They show that but full screen, so it looks like it's going to happen to you.
It's really neat.
I thought that was really cool.
So creative.
And that is the actual end of the movie.
I mean, I'm singing the praises of
Yeah.
Art the Clown and All Hallows Eve and Terrifier and Damien.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love it.
Yeah. And even though, considering everything I said earlier about not being sold on Art the Clown, I really did like this movie a lot.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did. I like that it has it was low budget. I like that it has a low budget, gritty, feel to it. I like that it was a labor of love, that a lot of work went into this with not a lot of resources.
Yeah.
And it ends up being a really fun ride.
Yeah. And knowing how much Damien did on his own, it gives me another respect for it too, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's scary. That's the thing too. A lot of horror movies, they don't necessarily scare me too much anymore.
Yeah.
This stuck with me for a long time.
The imagery, right?
Yes.
Because it's not just relying on the jump scares to scare you in that moment.
No.
It's stuff that will live in your brain.
Psychologically, it's because you know what, those things that we talked about, stopping at a gas station late at night, that's something that could potentially happen, and it is already a scary situation.
Yeah.
Being alone in a subway station by yourself, at night, as a girl, that's scary. I mean, as anyone, that's scary.
Yeah. Even being alone in your house.
Yeah.
Gets creepy.
It gets a little bit creepy.
Especially if the power goes out.
And it's on Halloween.
Yeah.
Right? Or I guess, I don't know if the alien was on Halloween, but every single short, I think, starts in reality, and it already preys upon people's fears.
Yeah.
And then you bring the supernatural element into it, and and the atmosphere and the grindhouse feel to it. I mean, there's just so many things that I love about this movie, but it makes me so, so happy. I remember when it was announced that they were doing a full Terrifier movie, me and the Blade were just so pumped for it. It was so, and then we got to see Terrifier 2 in theaters, and then we watched it again on Halloween. I mean, oh my God, I'm such a stan.
I am still, like I said, I'm still going to watch Terrifier 3. I'm still going to give it a chance.
And it's a Christmas movie.
Yes.
I love a good holiday horror.
I can't wait to get into those.
Oh.
I can't wait to start covering those very soon.
No, me too. But we have a good lineup going the rest of October. We have some fun episodes coming up. But I hope you liked this episode. If you did, leave us some comments. We've got a bunch of social media.
And I'm so curious to know, I don't know, am I alone? Am I the only one that is not sold on Art the Clown? Does anyone else understand or feel the way I feel about Michael Myers? I'm curious. Are you all gonna go off on me in the comments?
Yeah, let us know. Send us an email, chainsawgirlspod@gmail.com.
Yes.
We've got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube @chainsawgirlspod. We want to hear from you. We want to hear.
And don't forget to get your tickets for our live event, which is happening so soon, October 20th in Buffalo, New York. Come hang out with us.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Are we going to dress up? I feel like we got to look super cute for this.
Oh yeah, we got to do something.
I cannot wait. I'm so, so pumped for it.
Cannot wait.
Okay, bye.
Bye.